Back in Just Dance 2022, we got introduced to a mysterious coach named the Forgotten Queen. She's the coach of Human by Sebdeliza, and she might have one of the most mysterious lore that is the center of two storylines. Today I want to discuss who this coach is because we might have met her in Just Dance 2025 edition. I do want to mention that this video won't include anything from Just Dance 2026 edition, as I created this before any song, excluding the first 11 maps, was announced. Let's start with the first map, Human. In Human, we get introduced to a coach who is all black, with some references to a fishnet on her. She also has a golden glove with bumps. Now this may be a random dark map to fit in with other songs with a dark theme or sinister theme, like Believer with the fighting. However, later on from people asking Aurora, the former lore guardian of Just Dance, we got some lore. Human is one of those maps where people don't believe there is lore until you dig deeper. As of now, Training Season is the only song in this boat, since we don't know who the current lore guardian is. All we know is Astorina is a female warrior in cyberpunk. Human was in this boat, but later got lore relating to Sail by AWOL Nation from Just Dance 2024 edition. Before we talk about the Forgotten Queen and her backstory, we should talk about the lore of Sail, as well as Jump in the Line. Sail starts with the Melosian looking at his hands to see if he's still alive. When he gets up, he starts to dance on the ship, which is called Plum the Conqueror. After the first chorus, the background switches to the top of the ship, where it's visually raining. At this point, I do want to point out the line, which isn't just flagged by the ESRB rating for Just Dance 2024 edition, but could have some important lore that I won't be discussing in this video. At the end of the second chorus, the ship gets struck by lightning and starts to catch on fire. The fire spreads quickly, and we could think that Captain Crimson isn't going to make it. But after the bridge, the routine switches to Captain Crimson on a raft, where we can see the ship sinking in the background. At the end of the routine, Captain Crimson grabs his hat and wraps his hands around himself as the ship's remain sinks to the bottom. Now we did get some lore relating to this in a TikTok and Instagram reel. YouTube shorts were done dirty. In this short, it was confirmed that Captain Crimson named his ship after his lover, Plum. The two decided to thirst for adventure and decided to look for the legendary cursed Skull Island. This is the island seen in the background of Jump in the Line back in Just Dance 2. It took him years of traveling throughout the Melosia realms, but he gathered enough information for him and Plum to go to this island. When they arrived, they found a cave that they thought held treasure, but it ended up being a portal to an unknown realm, which they decided to go in, which was their greatest mistake. They were missing for so long that they were on the Melosia realms list of the missing. However, one day, a cursed boat on fire emerges from the seas of the Melosia realms, with a raft that had Captain Crimson alone. Never told the stories of what happened, but did mention of a cave that was the dwelling of a seductive monster with a fishnet trapped in the remains of an ancient realm, who resembles a forgotten queen of the past. Who does this remind you? A certain character that I talked about earlier. That's right. Captain Crimson saw Rasputin. I'm kidding, obviously. Captain Crimson was talking about the Forgotten Queen, the coach of Human. Now, some things I do want to point out to make things make no sense. In a video of the creative director talking about the maps, we see a glimpse of Eternix, which shows a picture of Human's background, confirming that Human takes place in Eternix. That's actually wrong, however. Of course, maybe it could still be a portal between Eternix and the Melosia realms, but someone reached out to Aurora who confirmed it takes place in the Melosia realms, as well as other information I'll talk about in a bit. Now, this is where things don't really make sense. The lore said about both Captain Crimson and Plum went into the portal, but never said that they encountered the Forgotten Queen. He did say that the Forgotten Queen did live there, but never stated when he saw her. Now let's talk about some things. Oh, if it wasn't obvious enough, the coaches of Jump in the Line are Plum and Captain Crimson before they went on Skull Island. So Captain Crimson and Plum go into a portal, and Captain Crimson is found near his ship that was up in flames, and even points out the Forgotten Queen. Before people say anything, no, the Forgotten Queen is not Plum. I want to make this known to people who start thinking that she is Plum. There is more lore that I'll talk about in a moment. This is a bit of a Sail theory, which it's not part of the lore around the Forgotten Queen, but I do want to point out. Aurora stated that centuries after the Forgotten Queen arrived on the island, Captain Crimson and Plum arrived and went through the portal. However, she didn't state anything beyond that, which comes to a small theory relating to Sail. Could the Forgotten Queen see the two walk into this portal and realize that they shouldn't be going in there. What if human is similar to Loving Land in some kind of way, being part of a story for a certain event to happen, like to open a portal? Could she be helping people even if she was turned into this monster? My full belief that the Forgotten Queen saw these two pirates walk straight into a portal like complete idiots and tried to save them, but only managed to save one because the other lost her life. As of now, Plum is the only confirmed dancer to be possibly deceased, excluding coaches based on real people / characters who've passed, or those who take inspiration from real people who passed. Oh, and isn't the ghost from Friendly Phantom in Ghost in the Keys. I do want to point out that yes, the DJ Grandma in both Rave in the Grave and DJ Goddess Fallen in Love is technically dead, but you never have been able to dance to her moves in-game. Now, the thing is that Plum isn't officially confirmed to be dead, but most likely since Captain Crimson appears on the ship alone. Now that I talked about one of the connections relating to the Forgotten Queen, as well as where she lives, we need to talk about who she is, which Aurora did confirm from people asking her of the lore of some songs. And for those who wanted lore connecting to Fiesta Latina song pack, let's talk about Provenza. The map for Provenza features Calypso, who previously appeared in Tusa, and her love, Triton. The lore relating to Provenza is simple, because they actually had a short relating to the lore, which is actually helpful. A few years ago, before Tusa, they met, where Triton taught Calypso how to swim and dance, as well as gave her golden shells before they parted ways. They met again later and became lovers. Now this is part of the main Forgotten Queen lore for a certain reason. From people asking the Lore Guardian, we found out that the Forgotten Queen is actually the daughter of Calypso and Triton, but she was never like this. In fact, she was cursed. A long time ago in the kingdom of Molossia, Calypso and Triton had a daughter. This daughter was unique. She was as beautiful as she was powerful. She possessed all the qualities needed to become the Queen of Molossia. A title forgotten today. I should mention that these are the words of Aurora asked by one of the members of the Just Dance Wiki. Anyway, let's continue. Her dance steps were enchanting, hypnotic. Even the gods came to Molossia to watch her dance. But not all gods were pleased, especially some goddesses who were known for their hypnotic dance. Some mortals and even gods claimed that the queen could dance better than they did. The jealousy of these goddesses, who were none other than the Gorgons, towards our charming queen only continued to grow. Then came the breaking point for them, and the Gorgons decided it was a time to curse this queen. The queen organized a performance on her favorite island, lost in the Molossia Sea, which is most likely close to Skull Island, not the island itself. Little did she know that this performance would be her final one for her people in the universe. In the middle of her performance, she began to transform into a monster. Some people tried to help the queen, but they met a very sad fate, and the queen was no more. So the rest of the spectators fled, and thus the legend of the Forgotten Queen was born. He resides on his cursed island lost in the sea, but possesses an invaluable treasure from time immemorial. Obviously talking about Skull Island, the island seen in the background of Jump the Line. Now, who are these Gorgons? They are confirmed to be the coaches of Black Mamba from the same game as Human, with their names being Cetheno, Medusa, and Uriel, or Medusa in the alternate version. Before we move on, let me recap in quick succession. The daughter of Calypso and Triton possessed all the qualities needed to be queen, and became the queen. She has amazing dance skills, which made the Black Mamba coaches annoyed. So they cursed her, and she became what she looks like in Human. If it makes her feel better, she did have a fan, who sadly passed away 3 years ago on the day this video was released. Him. He's the main reason why I wanted to make this video, as a tribute to him. And to this day, I still miss him. You can see how hard it is to make this video, because it's hard to move on from grief, especially since he was close to me. And you, all in my early days of 2022, he was kind of a mascot in a way. I've had this picture since 2022, and I keep it on my desk to this day. It feels like he's watching over me. This video is scripted, and I cried while trying to create this part. Almost crying when I'm trying to read this part in the script. Meanwhile, the person trying to edit this together, I did tear up. Now, let's get back to the topic at hand. Yes, I'll be okay, don't worry. I deal with this grief a lot. Now there's one last map I think we need to look at, and it's the most recent map since at the time of writing this. We only got 11 maps in Just Dance 2026 edition so far, so I don't know if anything was released continuing the lore. The final map we're looking at is Something I Can Feel by Mandy Harvey. This map is a very emotional, very stunning map, and inclusive to those who are deaf. This map features Coraly dancing underwater, with coral and waves behind Coraly. This doesn't really have any lore involved in this map. However, this might. The map takes place in Melosia realms, the same dance verse as Provenza, Sail, and most importantly, Human. Looking at Coraly's outfit, it gives the vibes of a Melosian queen. Enchanting steps, possesses qualities to be queen, her legs transition from white to blue. Almost a similar blue to Triton. This is my theory. My theory for this video is the Forgotten Queen was Coraly. There are some more factors that can back up the theory that I've not explained earlier. Excluding the fact that both are in the Melosia realms, the Forgotten Queen escaped and found safety in a cave, depths in the ocean. And something I could feel takes place in the Melosian Sea. Obviously, Human could be outside of the water in a cave, but we don't know that. Other things to point out that both have yellow gloves, which are on the same arm, but something to point out. And finally, both Human and Something I Can Feel are hard chill in Just Dance. Or hard low in Just Dance 2022 for Human. Come on, that's gotta mean something, right? Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more videos in the future. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you check out my theory on Boss Witch, Bloody Mary, and In the Shadows. And if not, YouTube thinks you'll enjoy this video here.